It was a Tuesday, and I was going through his blazer pockets before dropping the suits at the tailor. My name is Emma. I was 26, and I'd done this 100 times. Fished out gum wrappers, gas receipts, the occasional folded 20. We were 8 weeks from the wedding. I was getting his suits taken in because he'd lost weight that spring, and I'd teased him about it, called it pre-wedding nerves. Marcus just laughed. He had a good laugh. The kind you stop questioning after 4 years. So I'm working through the gray blazer and my fingers hit something in the inside pocket. A piece of paper, folded into a tiny square. And here is the detail I still can't shake. It was soft. The creases had gone soft, almost furry, the way paper only gets when someone opens it and folds it back up. Again and again and again. You don't do that to a gas receipt. I unfolded it right there in the hallway. Cedar and Vine, a hotel 2 towns over. The kind with a restaurant downstairs people drive to for an anniversary. Room 214, January, and at the bottom, a dinner charge for 2, rung up at 11 o'clock at night. Marcus did not have a work trip in January. He told me work was dead that month. One Saturday, he said he drove up to see an old college friend, and I kissed him goodbye and told him to have fun. And you want to know what makes it almost funny? 4 years ago, the open relationship was his idea. 1 week in Ma, 1 week, he was the one who asked to close it. Said he couldn't stand sharing me, that he wanted me and only me, forever. I believed him. I didn't scream. I didn't call him. I got very quiet because I needed to know how big this was. The name came before the proof. Claire. Someone on the edge of our group. For months, she'd stopped meeting my eyes, leaving a room a beat after Marcus walked in. I'd told myself I was imagining it. I wasn't. But the part that gutted me was that he hadn't done it alone. So before I said one word to him, I tested the 2 friends I trusted most. I started with Priya. Over coffee, I said it plainly. I think Marcus is seeing someone. A surprise person asks you one question. What? Are you sure? That's not what Priya asked. She looked into her cup and said very softly, "Did he tell you?" Did he tell you? Like there was already a plan. She cracked in a minute. Marcus had promised her he'd end it and confess himself before the wedding, and she'd believed him. She thought her silence was giving him the chance to do the right thing. She'd sat on my living room floor with a glass of wine and helped me address the invitations. She knew where he'd been in January, and she still licked the goddamn envelopes. Tom was different. No soft confession. I gave him the same line and watched him go still and study the table like it owed him money. "That's between you and Marcus," he said. He'd known Marcus since they were 19, and he'd decided that history outranked me, that it wasn't his place. His tell wasn't a wrong question. It was that he couldn't look at me at all. Only then did I go to Marcus. I watched him rewrite the truth 3 times in under 5 minutes. First, "It's not what you think." I put the receipt on the table. "Okay, it only happened twice." I didn't move, so he reached for the oldest line there is. "We were already having problems, Emma." We weren't. He just needed me, guilty of something, so he'd feel less alone in it. The real number, when it finally fell out of him, wasn't twice. It was months. So here's how it ended. By our front door is an entry table we bought at a flea market our first summer. Haggled some guy down to $40 and carried it 6 blocks because we were broke and proud. I walked to that table, took off the ring, and set it down. It made the smallest sound, just a little tick, thin gold on old wood, 30 grand, 4 years of my life, and it left my hand quieter than a fingernail. I called off the wedding. I cut off Priya and Tom completely. Nobody films the quiet part. The dress in a closet I'll never open. The people who suddenly had both sides to weigh. And the smallest, worst one. I used to walk into a room full of people who loved me and just assume I was safe. I don't anymore. That woman is gone, and I don't get her back. But I'm not destroyed. I'm clear. Everyone wants to ask if the cheater is the worst one. Marcus blew up my life. But Marcus was loyal to himself, at least. The two I can't make peace with are Priya and Tom, the people who looked me in the face, who loved me, who knew, and decided my comfort was worth less than his. Cheating is a hot, stupid, selfish thing. Watching someone you love plan a wedding to a lie and keeping your mouth shut to keep the peace, that's cold. That takes patience. You have to choose it every single day. Maybe you'd call that silence kindness. But I think you call it that to forgive yourself for the time you knew and stayed quiet. Being lied to nearly broke me, but being protected from the truth by the people I trusted is the part I'm still learning to live without. If people around you knew and said nothing, would you forgive them or cut them off? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone.